Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Om.
Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
I think we can start with Atma Kaha. Anyway. Can you see now? Anjuji can start. Can you start? Anjuji?
I'm not sure I have the right page. I have Vasishti on 107. I have Vasishti, Vichara, and I'm not.
Oh. Let me see.
On 107 is different from the page that you have written up there.
Yeah, it is on page number 19. That.
Oh, 90. Okay, 90.
The Atma Kaha.
Okay, the Atmaka. The teacher gives it. Do you want me to read, or does somebody else want to read?
Yeah, please read, Anjali.
Okay. Atmakaha. The teacher gives a detailed explanation. I'm not going to be able to read all that.
I'll read that for you.
Okay, thank you.
Sthula sukshma karanam sarirat vyadiriktha panchakoshatitah san avastatraya sakshi Satchidananda Swarupaha san yattishtadi sa atma.
Okay. The student asks, what is this Atma, which is the invisible, immortal, inner essence? And hidden behind this question is another question also, which is, what is anAtma, the external shell? The author elaborates. He takes up the second part, i.e., anAtma first. In his answer, he divides anAtma into several portions or several layers for the convenience of understanding, just as the modern biological scientists who, for the convenience of study of the body's organs and structures, divide our body into various parts. They talk about dermatology. The skin is a very important component of the body. It is the first defense system, and therefore they go down to epidermis, dermis, bone, bone marrow, etc. And then the heart, lung, liver, intestines, brain, etc. The psychologists study mind, thoughts, thought patterns, etc. One body is divided into so many components so that we can have a focused, threadbare study. The same method is used by our scriptures also. And based on that, the anAtma part of the individual is divided into three groups, and each group is later further subdivided. The first group of anAtma is sarira trayam, the threefold division of the body. The second group is kosha panchakam, the fivefold layers of strata of the human personality. The third group is called avishta trayam, the threefold avashtas or states of experience. So, sarira trayam, kosha panchakam, avashta trayam, these 11 components or parts together comprise the anAtma. The author enumerates all these 11 ingredients and also later points out that the anatma is different from all the 11 items comprising the anatma. This is the essence of this section of teaching. So, in response to the student's question, the author explains that atma is vyatrikata, vatrikta, separate form or different form. Sthula, sukshma, karana, sarirat. Even though he does not use the word anatma used by us earlier, we need to understand that when he refers to sthula, sukshma, karana, sarirams, he is referring to anatma in the context of the self. So atma is different from anatma, which are the three sarirams, i.e. bodies, viz. Sthula sariram, sukshma sariram, and karana sariram. These are collectively called sarira trayam. Trayam means three. The author will elaborately define these later. Next, he talks about panchakosha atita, the 5 strata or layers of human personality. Unlike the case of sarira trayam, where the author enumerates the 3 types of bodies, he does not enumerate the 5 koshas here. But for the sake of our clear understanding, these are Annamaya kosha, Pranamaya kosha, Manomaya kosha, and Vijnanamaya kosha. Vijnanamaya kosha. Anandamaya kosha. All these 5 put together is called kosha panchakam. And this group belongs to anatma category. And anatma is atiha, which means different from or transcending, that is beyond the kosha panchakam. The third group the author refers to is avashtatraya, sakshi. Sakshi means the witness or the observer, who therefore is different from the avashtatrayam, the 3 states of human experience. Here again, the author does not enumerate the 3 states. So we need to understand that he is referring to Jagrat Avashtha, the waking stage of experience, Swapna Avashtha, the dream state of experience, Shupati Avashtha, the dreamless sleep or deep sleep state of experience. These are the 3 states of experience called Avashtha Trayam. All of them are also anatma, and the atma is Avashtha Traya Sakshi, the witness or the observer of the 3 states, and therefore it is different from all of these 3. Thus, the 3 groups and their 11 components have been enumerated. Having said all this, the author still has to answer the student's question. He has stated what all is not atma, i.e., what all is anatma, but he has not yet explained what is the nature of the atma. He refers to it as Satchidananda Swarupaha. Swarupaha means one's own form, i.e., one's inherent nature. And this inherent nature, the author says, is Sat Chit Anandaha. Yet Ya Tishtati, abides in whom, or in whom they inhere. Saha Atma. That is called Atma. So Atma is different from the 11 components of the self seen earlier, which are anatma. And Atma is of the nature of Satchitananda, even though the author has answered the student's question, but in the process he has provided a ground for raising several more questions like, what is Sarira Trayam, the 3-fold body? What is Kosha Panchakam, the 5-fold layer? What is avashtatrayam, the threefold states of experience? The author has to now explain each one in addition to explaining what he means by Satchitananda Swarupaha. The Q&A continues.
Yeah, I think we can pause here. Uh, Anything we have to discuss or any questions?
No, this is a great introduction to the start of the three states and the 5 states of the kosha, and I think it will be explained in the next section maybe.
Yeah. So we can continue. Nirmalaji, can you?
Hari Om. Sthula Shariram, the gross body, its elements and functions. Sthula Shariram Kim, and the author elaborates. Panchikrita Pancha Mahabhutai Kritam Satkarmajanyam Sukhadukhadi Bhogayatanam Shariram Asti Chayate Vartate Viparinamate Apikshiyate Vinashyati Titi Shadavikaravadet Stula Shariram. So, of the 11 components of anatma, which are all mithya in nature, the student takes up the first, Stula Shariram, for a complete understanding and asks the question, what is Stula Shariram? The teacher gives a very elaborate explanation and covers 4 aspects: the cause, the function, the nature of, and the condition of the Stula Shariram. In English, Stula Shariram can be translated as the gross body or the physical body. And this very word Sthula indicates its condition. It means gross. Gross means visible, perceptible to the sense organs. The body can be seen, heard, smelt, etc. So gross means perceptible to the sense organs, indriya gocharam. It is perceptible not only to us but also to others. What is the cause of this physical body? He says that the physical body has 2 types of causes. One is the general cause, samanya karanam, which is the same for every physical body. And the other is the specific cause, vishesha karanam, which varies from individual to individual. The physical body is made up of the 5 fundamental elements called Pancha Mahabhutani. Just as in science, we talk about various elements which alone combine and form varieties of compounds. We have studied about the various elements in the periodic tables and have understood that everything in the universe is made up of their combination alone. For example, starting from aluminium, we know of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, calcium, potassium up to zircon. Just as science talks about these elements, the Shastras also have fundamental elements. In science, the elements are more than 100, but in the scriptures, the elements are only 5. Another difference is that in science, all elements are components of the earth, whereas in the scriptures, the elements are universal. Also, what is an element in the scriptures is a compound according to science. Example, water. The first element is akashaha, which means the space. Space is not a vacuum. Space is a positive material and therefore it is called akasha bhutam. The second element is vayuhu, which means air. The third is agnihi, that is the fire. The fourth one is apaha or jalam, which is water. And the fifth one is prithvi, that is earth. And all of them are called gross elements because we are able to physically perceive them. Earth is tangible, water is tangible, We can feel the air through our skin, we can see fire, and we can recognize space sensorily. Akasha or space is experienced in a peculiar manner, and that is why before sitting on a chair or a bench, we see whether there is space or not. And we sit only when there is some empty space. If it is empty, it means there is space. Therefore, we are able to sensorily experience the emptiness of the chair in a peculiar way, which is also Indriya Gocharatvam. All these are called gross elements, sthula bodhani, and the author says these 5 gross elements are the basic raw material for the production of all the physical bodies. The physical body of every one of us, not only human beings, but all things in the creation, including animals, plants, inert things, devatas, etc., is made up of these 5 elements only. The body has got a tangible part which is made up of the earth. From earth comes the vegetables. From vegetables the food comes. And from food the body is formed. So earth contributes to the formation of the tangible body. Next, the body has got water element. In fact, the very shape of the body is determined by 70% of water. Then there is fire principle. Because of that alone, the body has got a standard temperature of 98.4 degree Fahrenheit. Even when we go to Alaska or Arctic or Antarctic Circle, the weather may be freezing cold, but the body maintains the temperature because of the fire of life in the body. Then the body has got air in the form of life breath, which enters our lungs and comes out. The body occupies a lot of space outside and lot of space inside the body also. Stomach is but an empty space, and that is why we can push the food inside it. So, the body is made up of the 5 elements, and therefore it is called Pancha Bhautika Shariram. Everybody is made up of these 5 elements alone. It is a universal contributor, and that is why author says Panchitra Pancha Mahabhudhai Kritam. Kritam means produced out of, manufactured out of, shaped out of. The manufacturing factory is the mother's womb. At the time of conception, the body is formed. Undoubtedly, this is the most wonderful factory in the creation. The body is created out of Pancha Mahabhutai, the great 5 gross elements. Panchakrita means grossified or made gross, visible and perceptible. This is the Samanya Karanam, the general cause. Should I continue?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Now turning to Vishesha Karanam, the author says Sat Karma Janyam. The special cause is the karma, punya and papa, karmas, which one has earned in the past births or janmas. The punya and papa karma is also known as punya papa, adrishta, unseen or not seeable. The karma topic is dealt with in detail later in this book itself, where we will elaborately study what is punyam, what is papam, what is karma, what is the law of karma, what is previous janma, and what is future janma, etc. At this stage, it is sufficient to understand that the specific cause for the body is that it is born out of punya papa karmas. Karma alone determines the quality of the physical body and the type of physical body. Whether it should be an animal physical body or whether it should be a human physical body or whether it should be a divine physical body. The raw material is the same, but the type changes. For example, All houses are made out of the same bricks, cement, iron, etc. But all houses are not the same. Each one is different, but they have been built to different plans. So, the raw material plus the architectural plan determines the type of house. The raw material is universal, but plans will vary. Similarly, our bodies are also made out of the same raw material, but the shapes are different. Even among human beings, one body is a male body and another is a female body. Both are made up of the same 5 elements only, but what determines the body? Why should one body be male and another female? The author says it is because of punya papa karmas. And within the male body or the female body itself, certain bodies are fat, some are not so. Some are healthy, some are sick, some have congenital diseases, some have short life, some have long life, some have got dark hair, some have got grey hair, some have got no hair. Who determines all these? The karma. If one disagrees and says that these are all determined by parental genetics, the question would be, what determines one to be born to a specific set of parents? Why should a person be born to such parents? And that, the author says, is determined by karma. That is why he uses the term karma janyam. Since this karma varies from individual to individual, it is called Vishesha Karanam, that is, specific cause. The Punya Papa karmas which we have done in the past births will be responsible for the type of our body. Whether human or animal, whether male or female, whether healthy or sick, etc., all these are not accidental. Our scriptures never accept anything as accidental. Any event is an incident. Even an accident is an incident whose cause we are not able to find out. There is no accident. Birth is not an accident. So, if a body is born with congenital diseases like Down syndrome, it is not an accident. It is the result of the Purva Janma karma, the karmas of Purva Janma, previous births. Our Shastras very firmly emphasize the scientific fact that there can be no effect without a cause. So, when a baby is born with such conditions, one has to logically trace the cause to the previous Janma only. And incidentally, this conclusion also affirms the birth, death, rebirth cycle. So, Panchabhuta plus Purva Janma karma is equal to the cause of the body. Further, among the different type of bodies, being born in a human body itself is considered to be a great blessing. There are so many bodies like animals, plants, insects, and reptiles, even those not perceptible to our ordinary eyes. When we see television channels like Animal Planet, we are amazed to know how many different types of bodies are there. We feel lucky that we are not one of them. The human body is the most sacred body because in that alone we are able to probe into life, the mysteries of life and the goal of life. Not only that, but we can choose a goal and accomplish it. And therefore, the author says that irrespective of whether it is a male or a female body, we have got the human body, that is, Manushya Shariram, only due to the punyam of the previous births. He uses the term Sat Karma, which means Punya Karma, to qualify the word Janyam. The general cause and the specific cause together form the cause of the body. We now turn our attention to the function of the body. And the author says the body's function is that it serves a temporary residence for the individual or jiva or jivatma remaining in which it can interact with the world. For example, let us consider the case of a person transferred by his employer from one city to another. Before he starts any transaction in the new city, he will first search for a house to live in the new city, from which he can carry out all his operations. So first he will fix a residence, occupy it, and thereafter he may go and find out where the shops are, from where he will get cooking gas connection, where the schools are for his children, etc. These are all later transactions. Before all these, he will require an abode. Of course, this will be a temporary rented abode because he knows that he will be transferred again to some other city after some time. In this like manner, this body is also a temporary residence in which the jiva resides, transacts, and later shifts the residence from this body to another body. Then after some time, it shifts to yet another body, and this process goes on. We do not know since when this shifting business has been going on. It seems to have been doing this from beginningless times, and it seems that it will continue to do this endlessly. And the present body has been only its temporary residence. So there's no reason why one should fall too much in love with this body. No doubt, even a temporary house has to be maintained and it must be livable. But we cannot hold on to that residence because it is only temporary, and at the appropriate time we will have to vacate it. And if we don't voluntarily vacate, the owner will force us to vacate it. In the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Krishna explains this phenomenon using the analogy of a dress. Vasansi jivnani yatha vihaya navani grihnati naroparani tatha sharirani vihaya jina anyani samyati navani dehi. Lord Krishna implies here that there is no reason to be carried away too much by the physical body. We need to give its due, but never give it more importance than what it deserves or requires. The author continues his explanation. Shamubai, would you like to read?
Yeah. He says, Bhoga Ayatanam. Bhoga here means experience. Ayatanam means about. In this context, the body is about for the experiences, which could be pleasurable or painful or mixed. Sukha Dukkha Mishra Anubhavat. Mitra means mixed. Anubhavat means experiences. One may wonder how experiences can be a mixture of pleasure and pain at the same time. Numerous examples can be cited. For example, a person has two children. Both of them take their annual examination. One child passes with very good marks, whereas the other child fails in the examination. What will be that person's experience? Pleasure or pain? That is called Mishram. The author uses the word Adi, Sukha Dukkha Adi, to denote the mixture. So, out of the four attributes of the sthula sariram, we have considered three, three conditions. Three this condition, cause and function. Three conditions that are sorry. So, out of four attributes of sthula sariram, we have considered three: condition, cause, and function. Then the fourth and final one is its nature. What is the nature of this body? The author says that vikaravat sthula sariram. Our body is subject to constant change or modification. Every sec, every second, thousands and million cells are dying, and thousands and millions of new cells are born. As we keep on cutting them, the hair keeps growing, the nails keep growing, food gets exhausted by digestion, and that is why after some time we again feel hungry. The author divides this modification of this body into six types. Vikaravat. The body undergoes six types of changes. Asti, potential existence in the womb of the mother, that is invisible existence as the fetus. Jayate is born, comes out of the womb. Vardhate grows up till about roughly 20 years. In this time, it reaches full height. Every limb is fully developed. It is an adult body. Viparinamate. After 20 years, up to 50 or 55 years, the body does not undergo much of a change. It is neither growth or decay, but it is maintaining the status quo. That is, travels in the same plane. And thereafter, apakshiyate, decays or disintegrates. And finally, vinashyati, perishes or dies. That is also a form of transformation in which the body again gets merged into Panchabhutani, just as a pot on destruction gets converted into clay form. The matter is never destroyed, but it just gets converted. Destruction is also a form of transformation only. Continuous transformation is the nature of the body, the, and the continuous transformation is the nature of the body, and the author calls it Shadvikara. Six modifications of the body, sthula sharira. This is called physical body, which is anatma number 1. Should we discuss or are there any questions or points that we need to we can continue? Okay, then we can continue. Now let us study anatma number 2, sukshma sariram and saptadasha kalavihi, the subtle body and its instruments. Sukshma shariram kim apanchīkrita pancha mahabhūtaihi kritam कर्मजन्यं सुखदुःखादिभोग साधनं पंच ज्ञानेन्द्रियाणि पंच कर्मेन्द्रियाणि पंच प्राणादयः मनश्चैकं बुद्धिश्चैका एवं सप्तदश कालभिः सह यत्तिष्ठति सूक्ष्म शरीरम्. So the student asks, what is sukshma sariram? Subtle body. Some people call it the astral body. The teacher gives an elaborate definition. Here also we have to understand the different aspects, that is the condition of the body, the cause, the function, the nature and its constituents. The first is the condition of the body. It is called subtle body because unlike those which is tangible and perceptible, the subtle body is not visible to others. We can see others' physical body, but we cannot see the subtle bodies of others. The subtle bodies are indriya agochara, imperceptible to others. We will see later that one of the constituents of the subtle body is the mind. We cannot see each other's minds. Just take the case of a teacher and a student in the class. Teacher can see physical bodies of the students, but does not know if their minds are in classroom or not. He would have given an hour-long lecture with the very optimistic hope that the minds of students were also in the classroom. If not all, at least a few of them. One can imagine what amount of optimism is required for a teacher because he cannot see the minds of the students and what all things are happening in their minds. Whether they are enjoying the class or getting bored, or whether they are wondering how to get out and escape this misery of a lecture. All this is because the mind is subtle, imperceptible. Sukshma is imperceptible. But even though the mind is imperceptible to others, one can very well know one's own mind and what is going on there. Is it calm or disturbed? Is it happy or unhappy? Whether it understands what is being taught or everything is bouncing off the head. So we can conclude that it is partially knowable to oneself but not to others. Unlike the physical body, which is knowable to the owner as well, as others. So this is the condition of the subtle body. Now, what is the cause of the subtle body? The author says, Apanchikrita Panjamahabhutaihi Kritam. Like physical or gross body, the subtle body is also created out of the same five great elements only. Panchamahabhutehi. That is space, air, fire, water, and earth. But unlike the gross body, which is Panchikrita, grossified, subtle body is Apanchikrita, not grossified. Subtle. So, if the gross body is created by the gross form of the elements, subtle body must be created out of the subtle form of the same elements, because the effect has to necessarily follow the cause. One physical body is born out of physical matter, visible matter. Subtle body must be made of subtle matter. One may call it energy, but it is a form of matter only. Because scientifically we know that energy is an invisible form of the matter only, and subtle body is born out of the subtle matter. This, this is the general cause. Then there is specific cause also, and that is similar to the gross body, Satkarma Janyi. So the specific cause of the body is also based on the Purva Janma karmas. The five great elements plus previous karmas are the cause of the subtle body. Let us now understand the function of subtle body. The author says, Sukha Dukkha Sadhanam. It is like an instrument or toolbox with which a person contacts the external world. In the context of an office, a person contacts the other people by various methods. Example, postal letters, telephone, email, fax, and a cell phone, etc. We always need an instrument to contact the world. Life is mostly a series of experiences born out of interactions with external world. In sleep, there is no interaction, and so there is no experience. In waking state, we have experiences only because of the interaction. Interaction needs an instrument of contact. Sukshma sariram is a bundle of several such instruments of interaction. It is not one instrument. The author mentioned 17 instruments and he calls them Bhoga Sadhanam. Sadhanam in this context means tool. Bhoga, as we have already seen, means experience of the world. Sukha Dukkha means experience and a mix. Sukha and Dukkha experiences and a mixture of both, like in the case of gross body. This is a function of subtle body. Now coming to the nature of the subtle body. Even though the author has stated it specifically, we need to understand that like physical body, the subtle body is also subject to transformation and change. To put in Sanskrit, it is savikaram, subject to modification. For example, mind is a constituent of subtle body. Mind is the most violently changing instrument. All the sense organs are also changing all the time, and all of them are also subject to destruction. But the only difference is that the subtle body has got a longer life as compared to the physical body. That means, according to the scriptures, at the time of individual's death, only gross physical body of the person dies, and subtle body continues to survive. Also, the subtle body is said to travel in search of another physical body. It is like any instrument. If one perishes, we get another. But why should the sukshma sariram go in search of another physical body? This is because physical body is the residence and the shell remaining in which only the subtle body can undertake all transactions. It cannot otherwise function. That is why subtle body survives and travels to find new physical body. But because it is imperceptible, we cannot see it travel. But there could be an instrument that, since one cannot see the subtle body, it does not exist. There could be an argument that since one cannot see the subtle body, it does not exist. At the outset, it may look like a fair point, but ability to see cannot be the only criterion for proving existence. One cannot see one's own eyes, but they exist. If someone argues that he can see his eyes in the mirror, the answer would be that he can see only the reflected image of the eyes, and that too he has to trust the mirror. If the mirror is concave or convex mirror, even the image will be distorted. There is an interesting anecdote. One per, once a person said to another, one person said to another that he does not believe in the existence of things that he cannot see. So to teach him a lesson, the latter person slapped him strongly in the back. Naturally, the first screamed, complaining that he was in pain. The latter said that it cannot be so because neither of them can see the pain. So what one cannot see does not see cannot exist. Therefore, non-perception is not a proof of non-existence. We don't see other people's mind or emotions, but that does not mean they don't have a mind or emotion. Shastras therefore say that subtle body survives the death of physical body and takes another body. And at the loss of that body, it goes on to acquire in any physical body. This, this process continues for several births, and the subtle body dies only at the time of pralaya, the cosmic dissolution. So compared to the physical body, the subtle body has a relatively very long life and continues until the destruction of this world. This is the nature of the subtle body. The next aspect we need to know is the constituents of subtle body. This is the long this is a long list. The author says that there are 17 components. Kala means ingredients, parts or instruments. He goes on to enumerate Panja Jnanendriyani, the five instruments of knowledge. Jnanendriya means the instrument or organs of knowledge. We must remember that the reference here is to subtle body, and so these are not organs of the physical body. They belong to the subtle body. So we need to understand that organs, by organs, the author is referring to the faculties. For example, our eyes are only physical organs. They can see only if there are connected to the sight faculty in the brain. If the faculty is damaging, then eyes cannot see, even if they are physically present. Next is Pancha Karmendriyani, five organs or instruments of action. One set of five relating to the organs of knowledge relates to the input mechanism, that is gathering information from the external world. They are entrance gates. The second set of five karmendriyas is instruments of action, output mechanism, which helps in responding to the input. So we require entrance gates we also require exit gates. Next is Pancha Prana Deha, five pranas or five or forms of energy. These are the power centers or energy centers because of which alone we are able to act. This is similar to the machine which can move or work only if it has energy. If we take the example of a car, we fill it with petrol, and this petrol is converted into energy, and with that energy alone the car moves. Our physical body moves, and for that movement it requires energy. We require a fuel tank, and we do have a huge fuel tank which we constantly get replenished. Like fuel in a car is converted into energy, the food in our body's fuel tank or stomach or tummy is converted into energy. This internal energy is called prana shakti. These are five in number. The fivefold physiological factors functions which maintain the energy is the third set of 17 components. These three sets add up to 50. Then manaha, the mind, and finally the buddhi, intellect, is also present. Mind stands for emotional faculty, and buddhi stands for rational or intellectual faculty. We all have emotions. We all have intelligence also. In some people, emotions may be dominant. In some others, intelligence may be dominant. In the rest, it may be balanced. But we all have both these faculties. So in all, these are 17 constituents of the subtle body. Here Tishtati, that which abides in these 17 constituents is called sukshma sariram, anAtma number 2. Before
Shankar,
proceeding to,
can we stop here?
yeah.
Just wanted to ask about Panchakarminendriya, Panchapranadaya, and Prana Shakti. Can we stress on this because it's important, right? The 17
Yeah,
constituents.
sure. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so 17 constituents. Does anybody have a question or anything specifically to say?
For me, I'll just have to, I don't know, memorize these terms or something. I need more clarity in all of it. It seems like there's a lot of terms here, and it's not as easy to follow just reading the text.
Actually, all the 17 are being enumerated in the next verse.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
I just now, okay.
So we can move on. Before proceeding to anatma number 3, the author feels the need to explain the composition of 5 jnanendriyas, the 5 karmendriyas, and 5 pranas. The author now enumerates the 17 organs. Shrotram, Chakshuhu, Rasana, Granam, Iti Panja Jnanendriyani. Shrotrasya Devata, Cho Vayuhu. चक्षुषः सूर्यः रसनायाः वरुणः घ्राणस्य अश्विनौ इति ज्ञानेन्द्रियदेवता श्रोत्रस्य विषयः शब्दग्रहणं त्वचो विषयः स्पर्शग्रहणं चक्षुषोः विषयः रूपग्रहणं रसनाया विषयः रसग्रहणं घ्राणस्य विषयः गन्धग्रहणम् इति and Jnanendriyani, 5 organs of knowledge. Now 5 Jnanendriyas are being explained. They are Shrotram, the ears, the organs of hearing, the skin, organ of touch, Chakshuhu, the eyes, the organ of sight, perception, Rasana, or sight or perception, Rasana, the tongue, the organ of taste, Granam, the nose, the organ of smell. But we need to note that when we are enumerating the eyes, ears, etc., we do not refer to the anatomical parts because the physical part is already there in a dead body also. The dead body also has skin, but it cannot feel the touch. It has eyes, but it cannot see, etc. So the author does not refer to the anatomical parts which belong to the sthula sharira. What he refers to is the subtle power behind each organ. The invisible Shakti, Sravana Shakti is called Srotra Indriyam. Darshana Shakti is called Chakshu Indriyam, etc. Indriyam does not refer to the physical part but to the subtle part. It belongs to Sukshma Shariram and not to the Sthula Shariram. Anatomical name of these parts is in the physical body is called Golakam. Golakam is the physical part that belongs to the physical body, including the dead body, whereas Indriyam belongs to the subtle body. In a dead body also, Golakams are present, but the Indriyams are not there. In a blind person also, Golakam is there, but the Indriyam is missing. These are the 5 sense organs. The author also then the author talks about the Devatas. Devatas is a unique concept in our scripture. Every sense organ has a faculty, like seeing faculty, hearing faculty, etc. Each faculty is a limited faculty. Eyes can see all right, but it has got limitations. Dogs can see more than us. An owl can see more than us. Dogs can hear sound which we cannot. So every faculty that we enjoy is a finite faculty. And Shastras say that corresponding to every finite faculty, there must be a corresponding total power. So individual finite power or faculty is always a part of the corresponding total power. And this power which exists in the cosmos is called a Devata. Devata is any power that at macro level, and from that macro level power, each of us gets a small portion. It is like the chief executive who has got the power to govern entire company, but he picks up several general managers looking after each function like finance, sales, marketing, production, human relations, etc. And he delegates part of his total power to each of these general managers depending upon their respective functions. Thus, the general manager finance will have power only with respect to finance function. He will also he will not have any power relating to the marketing function and so on. Similarly, there are so many powers in creation. Each power has a corresponding devata. It is called corresponding total power. It is called a devata, and all devatas put together is called Ishvara. The God who, like the chief executive, is a conglomeration of all total seeing powers, total smelling power, total hearing power, total thinking power, total touching power, total emotional power, and so on. Out of the total power or relating to sight, every pair of eyes has got only a minuscule, and therefore eyes eyes are functioning only with the blessing of that respective devata, just as every general manager function only with the blessing of chief executive. Each organ is capable of grasping one aspect individually: sound, form, touch, smell, and taste. Thus, fivefold organs gather the fivefold stimuli. The fivefold aspects of creation is called Vishaya, and the organs are called Indriyam. So each Indriyam grasps each Vishayam, and which organ will grasp which object is not based on our choice or will. If we want to hear a talk, we have no choice but to use our ears. We cannot say that it is boring to listen through ears all the time, so we are now going to hear through the eyes. That will not be possible. It is fixed and determined by the Lord Himself. Every organ can function only within given field. One organ does not have an access into another field. Just as a ship can move only on water, car can move only on the road, aeroplane can fly only in the air. Each sense organ can function only in its kshetram, the field. Also, each sense organ has got a finite capacity only. Each ear, ears can hear only within a range, but the range is not same for all human beings. As certain persons can hear certain sounds which others can't hear. The organ have a finite faculty, and the scriptures say that any finite power is portion of infinite potential. Therefore, five sense organs have finite powers, but the corresponding devatas have got infinite potential. The use of this information is like knowing which minister or department is responsible for what, what in the government. When we have a problem, we can approach only the relevant department and the relevant minister. If we go to the home ministry with college admission issue, we will draw a blank. So the worship of relevant devatas is useful for improving relevant sensory faculties. The author mentions the name of devatas, that is corresponding to the macro or the infinite power of each of the five jnanendriyani. For Srotriya, it is Dik Devata. The total or macro hearing power is known by the name Dik Devata, or for Tvacha, it is Vayu. Vayu is the Devata in the name of thought. Vayu is the Vayu Devata is the name of the total power of touch. Chakshushaha Suryaha Devata. So the eyes, the corresponding Devata is Surya Devata or the sun. For Rasanayaha, it is Varuna Devata. Varuna is the name of the total power of the taste. And for Granasya, Ashwinav Devata, the total power of smell, there are twin Devatas called Ashwins or Ashwini Kumaras. These are the five Devatas. After this, author also enumerates the objects of knowledge of these Jnanendriyas. Stotrasya Vishayaha Shabda Grahanam. In the context of Vishaya, in this context, Vishayaha means the function. function of srotram is shabda grahanam. Shabda means sound and grahanam means grasping or experiencing. So the object of knowledge or function of the hearing faculty is to grasp sounds. So vishayah sparsha grahanam. Sparsha means touch. So the function of skin is the perception of touch, soft, hard, hot, cold, etc. Chakshusho vishayah rupa grahanam. The function of sight faculty is the perception of rupam, which means colors. Form is also called rupam, but primary meaning of rupam is colors. Rasanayaha vishayah rasagrahanam. Rasana means the tongue. Rasa grahanam means grasping the rasa, taste. Granasya vishayah gandha grahanam. The function of the nose is gandha grahanam, the perception of smell. And that is why in the scriptures the whole world is divided into 5 segments. Instead of enumerating objects of the world, the scripture divides the world into 5 segments: sound, smell, taste, form, and touch. If we analyze carefully, when we see an object, what we see is the color or the shape. We never see an object. We always see the properties, but never the substance. These are very interesting proofs. Our sense organs never perceive the substance. They perceive only the properties called shabda, sparsha, rupa, rasa, and gandha. And we never know what substance is, what the substance is. When we say you are sitting, we are only seeing your color. If we say you are speaking, we are only hearing your sound. If you apply a lot of perfume, we only smell the perfumes. We don't know what your substance is.
Can we stop here,
Yeah,
Shambhavan?
we can stop here.
I just recollect when you spoke about the Rasanaya Vishaya Rasagrahanam, there is chapter 15, one of the verse. I put in the comment if the others want to just read about it.
Yeah. And also
Just
we
put it.
need to
Yeah.
remember various facts that have been mentioned here, like
Correct.
yeah, we are actually when we say we see something, we are actually seeing the uh, specific colors and the shape, etc. We are not seeing the substance actually. The light reflected, the certain colors reflect the colors of the elements of the light which corresponding to that color. That only we are when that are only we are perceiving. We are not perceiving the substance. That substance itself. Same way, Sanji speaks about that uh, when we use perfumes and all, we are only smelling that perfume. So um, we can understand these five faculties of perception, five faculties of knowing, knowledge
Right. Correct.
of different, yeah, different perceptions. So we have to remember this. I think this is important.
Yeah, it's the reflection of the light which enumerates all
Yeah,
those colors.
colors, yeah. So, our shape and all. We see
Correct.
only that. We don't see the substance actually. We can we can stop here. Any question or anything else to discuss? So we have put the difference between mind and physical body. Beautifully explained. Mind is only visible to self, and body is visible to self. Chapter 15, verse 8 or 9. One verse which talks about rasanam and srotram chakshu parsanja.
Yeah, when you read
Yeah,
the
yeah,
last paragraph, I
yeah,
just recollected chapter 15, verse 8. So if
yeah,
the others want to just refer to it, so I just put it there.
yeah. So we can stop right.
Thank you.
ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ हरि ओम्।